Bergen County and New Jersey. A lot of people moved in and a lot of people moved out. Where did they come from and where did they go? Where did they come from? Where did they go? And what's 2021 going to be like? Well, let's talk about that. That's coming up next. Hey, so what's up everybody? I'm Bob Dzienis, a local realtor here in Bergen County, New Jersey with eXp Realty. Thanks so much for joining me on my channel today. I really appreciate it. And today I want to talk about in moves and I want to talk about out moves. Well, what does that mean? Well, who moved into New Jersey, but also who moved out of New Jersey? And where do these folks come from and where did they go? 2020 really was an unprecedented year for real estate. You know, the pandemic really changed our outlook on so many things and in the way that we actually work. Throughout 2020, people were not going to offices. And it made a lot of people take a step back and say, maybe now is a time to maybe consider moving. We saw a huge increase of people leaving major cities like New York City, for instance. So instead of going into offices, people were actually able to now work from home. And this might have actually changed how people will be working in the future. People took that as a sign to maybe leave those major metropolitan areas, consider going into the suburbs, or actually move to areas that maybe they thought about, but now it was kind of the catalyst to make those moves happen. The National Association of Realtors just released some really interesting data about in moves and out moves. Basically, where were people moving in from and where were people moving to in 2020? And with the COVID situation not necessarily changing yet, I mean, we have the vaccine on the way, we're still potentially looking at more months of quarantining. And if that's the case, then 2021 looks to be pretty similar to what we experienced in 2020. So what I want to do is just go through some of the data that the National Association of Realtors just actually published recently. And let's take a look at the Northeast in particular. So I service Bergen County, and in 2020 we saw a huge influx of people coming from the New York area. So now what we can do is actually look at what was the reality of 2020. So in this article that was released by the National Association of Realtors, what they did was they looked at 2020, starting from March when the pandemic started, and they looked at data through October of 2020. And what they used was United States Postal Service move data. And it's really interesting because you could see where people, what counties people are moving from, where did they go. You can look up by state to see where were people moving in from, inbounds, and where were people moving to, which are outbounds. So according to the US Postal Service, almost 9 million people moved during the pandemic from March through October of 2020. And what made them move? Well, again, it was just a reevaluation of everything that was going on during that time. People were looking for more space. They were looking to get out of those major metropolitan cities and actually have more space for their family. So some interesting findings that were discovered was most people moved at the very beginning of the pandemic, and the second biggest moves were during the actual summer months of 2020. We here in northern New Jersey were seeing a major influx of New York buyers coming into our market. People probably just held up their hands and said, that's it, I'm out, let's get out of here. There was a lot of changes and adjustments happening within New York City, the 5 boroughs, and people decided, maybe now is the time to make that move. But unfortunately, during that time, there was not a lot of inventory. People were not feeling safe to put their homes on the market. So we were seeing multiple offer situations, which is still continuing now during the pandemic. And here we are in January of 2021. There were 3 states specifically that saw the most move-in buyers. One was Maryland, the second one was South Carolina, and can you guess the third state that got the most move-in buyers? Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely, it's New Jersey. Where did they come from? New York City. New Jersey saw almost 2,200 families move into the state coming from the New York area over the course of March through October of 2020. And so if we flip that, do you want to know the top 3 states that actually saw the most people moving out of the state? One is Washington, D.C., the second one is Texas, and guess what the third one is? Ding, 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 New York. That whole New York area, the metropolitan area. New York County, which is New York City, saw the highest number of move-outs, and many of those people went to New Jersey. All right, so let's go a little bit deeper with the data now. In fact, we can look by specific state where people are moving out and where people are moving in from. So your inbound movers or your outbound movers by state. Pretty interesting stuff, so let's go take a look. So what were the top destinations for people leaving New Jersey? At almost 37%, it was Florida. So almost 31% of people leaving New Jersey actually moved to New York. It doesn't necessarily mean it was New York City. It could have been a suburb of New York. So you've got that whole upper portion, that upstate portion of New York that people might have moved to as well. The third state that saw the highest percentage of people from New Jersey was Pennsylvania, and then Delaware, and then finally Iowa. All right, so let's flip that now. So who was moving into New Jersey and where were they coming from? So as predicted, during this time between March through October of 2020, it wasn't even predicted, it was true. I felt it. Many real estate agents felt the influx of buyers coming from New York. Almost 75% of people moving from New York came to New Jersey. So interesting, the second state that saw the highest percentage of people moving into New Jersey was Florida, which might actually be snowbirds, people who are coming into the warmer months of New Jersey but stayed in Florida during the winter months. Pennsylvania was the third highest percentage, and to round it off, we have Illinois, number 4, as well as Texas, number 5. But New York is the big winner. And why is that the case? Well, because of the pandemic and all of the reasons of change of lifestyle and opportunity that people wanted to take advantage of potentially and maybe get out of that metropolitan area and have just some more opportunity in the suburbs. All right, so let's take it one step deeper and let's look at Bergen County specifically. Like I said at the beginning of this, Bergen County really got a huge influx of New York buyers. So interestingly, little over 32% of people moved to Hudson County. And Hudson County is literally right at the Hudson River. It's Hoboken, it's Jersey City, it's that whole area right across the river from New York City. So why would people move from the country or more, let's say, suburban area of Bergen County and move into a more densely populated area like Hudson County? It could be because there was such a move of people leaving Hudson County because you have large apartment buildings there, for instance, that there became some opportunity of people who said, you know, I kind of want to be closer to the city. Why not? Rents have probably come down some if I'm looking to rent. I maybe can get a little bit more for my money, and since everybody's leaving Jersey City or Hoboken, maybe I could take that opportunity and go right in. The second highest percentage of people leaving Bergen County here in New Jersey actually went to Manatee County in Florida, which is right by the St. Pete, Tampa, Sarasota area. Next is Passaic County, which is just west here of Bergen County. Then you've got Morris County, which is the fourth highest percentage of people leaving Bergen County. And rounding out the top 5 is Palm Beach County down in Florida as well. So a lot of folks probably just said during the pandemic, I'm out, I'm going to Florida. Or they're looking for maybe perhaps just some more opportunity, more savings, can get a little bit more for your money out in the suburbs, the further west suburbs like in Passaic County as well as Morris County. All right, so those are the folks who moved out of Bergen County. That's where they were headed to. What about the people moving into Bergen County? About 32% of New Yorkers in the New York City County, which is New York City itself, came to Bergen County. The second highest percentage of people moving to Bergen County came from Hudson County. So, as I said before, those people that were leaving Hudson County like Jersey City and Hoboken probably decided, okay, let's go to the suburbs. Third highest percentage of people moving into Bergen County is from Passaic County, about 16%. About 10% coming from Union County, and then finally about 5%, a little over 5%, are coming just from the north down into Bergen County from Rockland County, New York. Okay, so what about 2021? Is it going to be the same potentially? In all honesty, many economists are predicting it's going to be very similar in 2021. People are using this as an opportunity to make major changes in their lives, from work, from school, from living conditions. It's really put a lot into perspective. So with that said, 2021 is still looking to be very similar. We still have safety issues with COVID-19. Not everyone continues to feel safe to just list their house in these really difficult times right now. With that said, there's still going to be some challenges though with trying to purchase. You still could see multiple offers, not a lot of inventory on the market, which creates a seller's market. Sellers are in control of the market. So it might be a while until there's a lot more inventory that's out there, but this is still a good time with lower interest rates coming into 2021. All right, so there you go, some really fascinating information about inbound moves as well as outbound moves here in New Jersey as well as the New York metropolitan area. And if you want to know more about maybe the town or the county that you live in and what's going on, just look down into the description. What I did was I posted a link to this National Association of Realtors information, and have at it. See what's happening in your county, in your area with real estate, where people are moving to or where they're coming in from. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm Bob Dzienis with eXp Realty here in Bergen County, New Jersey. And if you ever have any questions whatsoever about Bergen County or Northern New Jersey, here's my information. Go ahead and just shoot me an email or send me a text or give me a call. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week with my next video.